Hello students, welcome back to Mr. Patterson's class. I'm back with another great book for you today. This one's one of my favorite ones. It's called Hooway for Woodney Wat. This one will actually be a pretty interesting one. It's about the R sound and how people might have trouble saying certain things, and it's a really cool one. Poor Woodney Rat. His real name was Rodney Rat, but he couldn't pronounce his R's. To make matters worse, he was a rodent. A wodent. Alright, so we already see his R's sound like W's. His real name's Rodney, but he says Woodney. What's your name, Woodney? Asked the other rodents. Woodney Wat, whispered Wani. What's another name for a bunny? They asked knowingly. Wabbit, he mumbled. And how does a train travel? They winked at each other. A twain twavels on the twain twacks, Rodney replied miserably. Alright, so we see the other rodents at school bullying him because he can't say train tracks and he says twain twacks. So we already see kids bullying him. How do you think that makes Rodney feel? All of this teasing day in and day out made Woodney the shyest rodent in elementary school. His squeak could barely be heard in class. He'd gnawed lunch alone. And while the other rodents scurried and scooted about at recess, Woodney hid inside of his jacket. One day, as the rodents were taking turns doing wheelies, a new rodent, a very large rodent, barged into the classroom and announced, My name is Camilla Capybara. I'm bigger than any of you, I'm meaner than any of you, and I'm smarter than any of you. Then she added, so there. So we got a new girl into the class. She's the biggest rodent of them all. Says she's super smart, strong. Says she's just better than everyone. With that, she accidentally, on purpose, elbowed an ear, bumped two noses, stepped on three tails, and lay down on a desk. Fur prickled in fear through the classroom. She sure was bigger than any of them. She sure looked meaner than any of them. But was she smarter than any of them? Alright, so she came into the classroom on the first day and already stepped on three of their tails, elbowed an ear, and bumped two of their noses. She seems like a bully, huh? What's 2 plus 2? Asked Miss Fuzzleworth. 4, shouted Camilla Capybara, without even bothering to raise her paw. And furthermore, 4 plus 4 is 8, 8 plus 8 is 16, and 243 plus 125 is 368. Later, when Miss Fuzzleworth asked, What's the capital of? Camilla interrupted. New York, Albany. Population, 295,594 people. And during science, in answer to the question, what part of the plant is below the ground, Camilla Capybara danced on her desk and sang, Root, root, rooty toot toot. Yup, thought all the other rodents. She's smarter than we are too. They felt very, very uncomfortable. Alright, so now she came in, told them she's smarter, proved she's smarter, said she's the meanest, has proved that she's the meanest. So, how would you feel if this new girl came into your class and was acting like this? Every afternoon, just before the final recess, Miss Fuzzleworth drew a name from her hat to see who would be the leader for their favorite game, Simon Says. She scrunched her eyes close and jiggled the hat. Would it be Hairy Hamster, Manny Feet Mouse, Grizzle Fizz Guinea Pig, or could it be Big Mean Smart Camellia Capybara? Have you guys ever played Simon Says at all? I played it a bunch in gym class and at recess sometimes. Miss Fuzzlesworth Paul reached in and pulled out the name of Woodney Wat. The bell rang, there was a wild scurry for the door, and Camellia Capybara was the first on the playground, having trampled the others in her path. To Woodney, she looked especially scary. What would she do when she heard him speak? Breathe, Capybara. Breathe in his face? Or tie him up in his own tail? Or even pounce on him? So now he's scared. Even though he's the Simon Says leader, he still thinks that this girl is going to beat him up or something. The tiny, trembling leader of the game stood before the eager players, his head well inside his jacket, and squeaked. Woodney Says, "Read the sign." While the other rodents read, P.S. 142 Elementary School for Rodents, Camellia began pulling up weeds around the sign and wildly flinging them hither and yon till she was clear up to her teeth in the dirt. The other rodents began to smile. Woodney Says, "Whap your paws around your head." He peeked to a little peek out of his jacket and saw, whap, whap, whappity slap, whap. Camellia was whapping her paws around her head so hard she began dizzy and gave herself a headache and had to sit down. The other rodents couldn't help giggle. Alright, so now that Simon Says, he's saying things and it's confusing her and she's messing herself up and everybody's laughing at her now. Woodney Says, "Play Wing Around the Wosey." Camellia put her arms like wings and made an airplane noise. No. But where was the Wosey? What was a Wosey? She's never played any of these games, so she's super confused and keeps messing up. But now Woodney's voice was stronger and his head was entirely out of his jacket. "Wake the leaves." Nobody moved. Woodney Says, "Wake the leaves." While Harry, Many-Feet, and Grizzlefizz and the others bruised themselves raking, Camellia Cabara grabbed one leaf. "Wake up," she yelled. She snatched another. "Come on, you. Up, up, up," and another. "Rise and shine," and another. "Boo!" And all the other rodents were squealing with laughter, all but Camellia, who frowned. Stupid leaves. They won't wake up. And why was everybody laughing at her? Such bullies. In a voice so strong he had to hold his own eyes, Woodney calls, "Woodney Says, go west." The rodents collapsed in a happy heap for the rest. "Go west." Camellia Cabara, feeling very smart that she could tell directions by the sun, said, "All right, I shall go west," then added, "So there." West she stomped forever. She was gone. And from that day on, the pupils of PS 142 Elementary School for Rodents never teased Woodney again. He was their hero. "Hooway for Woodney Wat," they cried. "Woot, woot, wootity toot toot." And that's the end of the book. So in the end, she came to the school and started trying to bully everybody else, but in the end, she didn't understand that Woodney had that speech impediment, and it really hurt her, because then whenever he said stuff, everybody else knew what he meant, but she didn't, and she did the opposite thing. She tried to wake up the leaves whenever he was trying to say rake the leaves, not wake the leaves, and got bullied for that. She headed west whenever everybody else didn't go at all, so he got rid of her for good, and he kind of just saved the day, even though he had that speech impediment. He became the hero of the class. It doesn't matter if you have a speech impediment or you can't say certain things. Just keep working on it. Don't bully those kids. Just work with them. Help them. Help everybody around you. Have a great day, guys. See you next time.